Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Ranger Rob Country Living channel. And I just had to fix something. So, hey, welcome. We're all perky today. 170 degrees, 7 degrees. And yeah, we're all just going at it 100%, just perky as all ever. Yes, sir, Bob. Anyway, guys, welcome to the show. This is the Ranger Rob Country Living podcast. This is episode 43. I want to welcome everybody in the panel here. I'll get everybody introduced in a minute. I wanted to let you know where you can find our show. You can find it, well, right here. So why go anywhere else? But if you like your audio, we're in all the, just if you got an audio software on your cell phone, just type in Ranger Rob Country Living Podcast and you'll find us and subscribe to us and listen to us over and over and over, because it'll make your day. It'll make you smile. And please don't forget to take the time especially on YouTube here, to like us and share us and subscribe to us, because that really helps and that's how we grow. And last but not least, the panel here. Somehow everybody rearranged themselves from last week. So John and Debbie Sternberg, Hobby Pig Homestead, blah, 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 blah. The ones that have the entire screen filled up with a title. Anyway, welcome to the show. I see you made it on time today.
Thanks, Rob. Appreciate it.
And moving on down to the left-hand corner, we have Dale Wiley, better known as our science officer. And welcome to the show. And last but not least, we have Amy. And I'm trying not to notice that she didn't wear a hat today. It's okay. I didn't notice. I did not notice.
I wear it when I'm not on camera.
But and my hat is shot, totally shot. I go through a hat probably every 3 months. So I got new hats coming in for me too. So then after that, I'll get some ordered for you know who. And 2 girls that kind of suggested they wanted some. So I will get on that. So it's hot, guys. And I just want to tell you that I've been growing things, but I bet you don't have a turnip this big.
Oh, dang.
Well, that just fell off the turnip truck, didn't it?
Yeah.
It
filled the whole truck. That is one turnip. The other one was just a smidgen smaller. Yeah, it's a beast. So I had a little luck today. That was the first time I ever grown turnips. Usually I know you don't want to get them that big, but couldn't help myself. But yeah, that's my turnip. And also, I want to make sure I kind of cover my stuff, because the rest of the show is for you guys. On the homestead, things are getting a little bit horny. And my tomatoes are getting bombarded with these guys, hornworms. Yes, I found 6 of them on my plants. Six. I mean, and they are literally as big as what you see there. They're 3 inches or bigger, and you wonder how you can't see them. But they are amazingly they blend in with a tomato plant, something fierce. And the only way you can kind of tell is 2 ways. One is, first of all, I don't have my comments on. Small town tourists, welcome to the show. When you look at your plants and you say, where'd the leaves go? Especially at the top, that's a good indication that you have hornworms. Second is, hornworms, as they're munching along, tend to leave a trail behind them with little pellets. If you look down on the ground, and we're using fabric weave, you can see clearly their droppings coming from your plants. So anyway, as soon as we saw that, we pulled out I believe in organic stuff. So we use BT which is certified for organic gardening. I guess that's the right wording for it. Anyway, so I went all over town today hoping I could get more, and didn't find it in 3 locations. But then I realized I had a bottle of concentrate from last year that I forgot all about. And so I sprayed the dickens out of my plants today. So let's hope we don't see any more of these ugly guys, because they can wipe out a tomato plant, something fierce. And couple of things I got for me before I hand it off to you guys is I have a lot of junk in my front yard still because the estate sale leftovers. It's been too hot. And there's no way I'm going to bring folks over. I have lots of volunteers want to help me out, but it's too hot. It's just way too hot. So it's sitting in the front yard melting. And I also want to remind people that we still do tours now, especially since it's slowed down a little bit. So if you ever want to, if you're on the ranch and want to come check out my place or even make arrangements with some of these other folks, just IM us and or PM, I guess is the right words for it, on Facebook, and we'll make arrangements to let you see either cows or pigs or hydroponics and all that good stuff. And last but not least, my tomatoes, my first one's starting to turn, so I'm getting there. I'm almost there. And the hydroponics, they're liking hot weather, so those tomatoes are going to start turning. So last year we were doing an average of 5 to 10 pounds a day for quite a long time, and so it's going to be rolling tomatoes here pretty soon. And then last but not least, I know you guys are doing the same thing. We're trying to cool down our animals, and that's all I do all day is just rotate from animal to animal and spray down their pens or run sprinklers. It's just hot, and those the pigs, they're doing all right as long as I keep their wallows up, but man, it is definitely toasty out there. So today's subject is homestead fails and success. And
Have we got enough time for that?
We got a little picture sent to us earlier today that probably will start this conversation off with Amy, because she sent us a picture that was like, what the heck happened? So do you have that picture?
Yeah, I do. I'll screen share it.
Yeah, you gotta see. It's coming, guys. I kind of caught her off guard. I would say what we're about to witness is definitely a fail.
Yes, it was.
So what happened here?
I was trying to make butter in the NutriBullet in the blender.
Yeah.
And I have done it. So what you see there is cream, a lot of cream that poor Meatloaf painstakingly made for me, and I painstakingly skimmed from jars of milk, and I thought I would make butter. I've done it this way several times successfully before, honestly, and I'm not sure why it didn't work today. What I think happened was that it was just warm in the house and the blender overheated and there was so much pressure, it blew the top off the blender cup. And I'm really lucky I wasn't standing with my face over it, because I'd have black eyes at this point. But
I made butter before, but I've used the KitchenAid. I've never thought about trying a bullet, and then you've convinced me I'm not going to.
Me neither.
I've done it before successfully this exact way, and the worst part about it, well, maybe, or ironically, I was videoing. I was trying to make a YouTube video of how to do this, and now I'm going to have to go back and say, actually, don't do this. So I will tell you that was a pain in the butt to clean up. Yeah.
It may be, but that's straight up clickbait right there, man. You get that out on your channel, people got to come see what you did.
Yeah.
I'm going to start calling my channel "What Not to DIY" instead of "How to DIY."
Oh, dude.
Yeah, that was. I can't even fathom trying a bullet. I've got one too. We do it. We turn our stuff into powder when we do the freeze drying, and we use our bullet all the time. I would never thought of trying it to make butter, but I guess it would work. Huh.
It has in the past. I honestly don't know what went wrong today, so I guess that makes me not an expert on the subject. It's just God taking me down a peg. You know, you get too full of yourself, you get too prideful, and then something goes wrong and reminds you who's in charge.
Yeah. So we got a few folks in here I want to say hello to. Small town tourists. Sounds like they're getting some monsoons down in Mesa, which is my old hometown. And we also have Frontier Survival saying good evening to everyone. And in small town, if there's no pictures of success, it didn't happen. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
True.
So,
Let's go rip a
so,
stock photo.
yeah. So, since I'm still on Aimee here, it's like, all right, we'll forgive you on this butter thing. So you said it's been successful before.
It has. So
And,
I guess I need to read more. I should research before I try this again. I don't know if I'm going to try it again.
I'm not sure you researched it. You said you've been successful before, though, right?
I know. So I don't know what happened this time. I really don't know what went wrong.
You forgot the safety tape.
The duct tape, yeah.
Yeah, must be.
So since we're on the subject of some more fails, do you have any other really? It doesn't have to even be this year, but in the last 2 years, while you're getting your homestead going or whatever, what are some of the big fails that you've had that you're going? Well, I think we'll go a different direction, and we won't need about the cow thing. We'll pass on that one.
Right. Yeah, let's not talk about that. That wasn't even our fault, so it wasn't a fail.
That's right.
The other one that really came to mind when you let us know what the show was going to be about tonight was my foray into flower seed growing this year. I know I've mentioned it before. I had a whole tray of stuff that eventually went in the trash because it got put in the back corner of the greenhouse and forgot about. So, it's just another reminder not to keep your plate too full. Be careful how much you take on, and don't consider yourself an expert because, you will get proven wrong.
Oh, it just hit me.
Oh,
This is John Smith. I forgot he's got this new channel he's working on, so I didn't hit me who I was talking to. So, hey, John, good to see you. And he is in Mesa, and I assume you're dealing with monsoons down there. I assume, which we could use one here.
nice.
But anyway, and we lost Dale. Dale will be back. He does this disappearing act. He freezes on his side, and it drives him crazy, even though we can still see him. But so he reboots so you can see the movement because it is kind of hard to get used to. So, well then I'm not gonna stay on all your fails, but I'm gonna move up to John and Debbie's fails.
Your turn.
So you've been up here for a little more than a year, right?
Yep.
So I'm sure you guys were diving in to get your homestead functional. I know you're still working on it and stuff, but so what are some of the things you thought was a good idea but went amok?
The only thing I could think of in the last week would have to be the greenhouse / barn. I forgot to put the straps on to hold the barn to the two ends, and the wind came through. We must have had a big gust come through in the middle of the night, but it picked it up and moved it 4 feet.
Wow.
And both of my end, the whole greenhouse was sitting on the ends because they fell in. So it was sitting on that. So I had to move it all back and put the ends back up and then strap them on.
Wow.
Sheesh.
So that's the last week, huh? You can't put a time limit on this stuff because
Okay.
We'll
We'll go to the greenhouse.
we've got to go back at least 90 days on this, okay?
Okay, we'll go back to the original greenhouse. We thought we had this fixed. You know how sturdy it was, Rob?
Yeah.
Oh no, the panels are coming off on top again.
The polyurethane one or the glass one?
The glass
What?
one, yeah.
Yeah, I shook that thing. It was like a solid bricks.
And now the panels are
The
coming off
panels are
again.
starting to come off again.
Only the
Duct
ones
tape.
on the roof.
Yeah, duct tape. That'll fix it. All right, we're going to stick on fails here. I'm sure there's going to be more as we go along here, but we're going to move right on down to Dale. What's some of your fantastic procedures you've done in the last few months?
Well, I mean, as per usual, I always think I can beat Mother Nature, and I can beat Oregon State University and everything else as far as my planning and timing and everything else goes on stuff. And so, just a minor fail. I kind of backed my plant dates up a little bit, 2 weeks, and this year it was okay. Probably should, I would back them up another 2 weeks. I think probably the April 1st, that was probably one of my big things right there, is like planting, too early type of a thing, which I've done that for years and years. And other fails, they come along in different sizes and shapes and everything like that. But, I'm happy to say that I'm not completely screwing up, like I have in the past.
Well, it's still early in the week.
Well, you think you start getting to my age, and you've stepped in piles of this stuff every chance you get, that you would not do that anymore. But, every now and then I still do. I make fewer and fewer mistakes and everything. And so it's kind of, and Amy, her and I have had multiple conversations about capacity and ability to handle things and everything else like that. And so I probably got in a little bit over my head this year, I think, as far as that went. So it took me a little bit to recover from all that. And so, we're just kind of, into a mode where I really can't screw anything else up right now, because I don't have anything in the greenhouse. I have an automatic irrigation system going that's keeping everything growing really well, and everything like that. So no, I could claim absolutely no screw ups, but there'll be small minor ones. But if I went back to the nursery days and everything else, I could tell you stories of mice getting under the snow and eating the bark off of 1,500 real nice Japanese maples. Me planting too early and watching my entire bean crop get wiped out. So I've done just about every screw up you possibly could and everything. But getting older, I get better at it. So pretty happy. Those hornworms that you've got going on, Rob, turn your chickens out there. Put your chickens out there. We've got a yard.
I'm afraid what they might do to the rest of the plants, though. But
well, that's the thing. You've got to have enough out there, and really, the chickens, they're not going to go after stuff too bad. We've got quite a bit of stuff in the backyard and available. And right now, this is a quail oasis at our place. There is, at any given time, we have 30 to 50 quail in our backyard, where they're mostly smaller ones, families and everything. There was 3 families out there. They eat some lettuce and they do this and that. But we have one solitary chicken that free ranges and everything. She apparently got into some disagreements in the coop and was jumped out of the coop and everything like that. And so she's just been wandering the yard. And if you got a chicken around, they see one of them hornworms, man, that's a hell of a meal for them. So,
those 6 hornworms did go to the chickens.
Yeah. And the chickens will just go nuts when you see them and everything.
My biggest worry is I did kind of think about that, but I also got that fabric weave, which is like 300 degrees right now. And I don't have really much shade, so I can't protect the chickens much. And I'd have to kind of confine them a little bit, because I think Belle would chase them around. But anyway, but it's just the way it is. But so one of my fails, by the way, last year was you probably saw my videos last year where I'm kind of bragging about this corn growing, and it was beautiful. Oh my gosh, it was gorgeous. And I was injecting it with all kinds of things with hydroponics. And then it was candy corn. And I thought, I got this. I got the tassels. I got the ears. They're coming out. And then it's just stopped. Just short of corn. And I was like all summer talking about how cold my corn is. Now, this year's corn is looking pretty good. But so instead of victimizing myself with candy corn failing on me, there is candy corn in one of the rows here. But I went out and got 5 different species this year. So one of these rows is going to be successful. And hopefully when I brag about my corn and see how pretty it is, and which I was doing last year, I'm going to be actually picking corn off of it. So anyway, last year, that was my biggest fail, was this beautiful, beautiful corn. And at the last minute stopped. And so Yeah, so it was one of my fails. So, but we get to talk about good things now. Aimee, so what do you feel like this year has been some of your biggest successes?
Meeting, getting out of my comfort zone and meeting people, because that can feel like a fail sometimes, and you're afraid to fail. But
Yeah.
that has been, and I think it does fall into homesteading. Look at us right here on the screen, this community.
Yeah.
So I think getting outside my comfort zone was the biggest win this year, really.
Yeah, I tried to go to her house the other day. She wouldn't let me in.
Well, no, I think
She was having a moment.
I think what Amy's talking about is completely irrelevant, and I threw a little challenge down on Aimee this year and everything, and she did real well with it and everything like that. And so, that's kind of that she adapted and everything else with her, and I mean, and it worked out. So yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I think even today's video, I was talking about miracles, and I got to tell you that Sherry and I have not really had close friends for quite a while, and we were traveling a lot and going from Mesa, and we lived, and so and we had acquaintances, we met kind of folks, but to really like put some effort in some friendships and stuff like that, I think that's been really a big success for us this year. Is I think we kind of put the call out there, and then people saying, hey, I'm over here. And so it's like, all right, then Sherry and I have to all right, we got to go over there. We got to kind of push ourselves. And then we're finding how charming it's been. And so, yeah, I mean, I think all of us are kind of really been lucky with success with building our community. And as you put it, Aimee, our fellowship. And so it's been really fantastic. But yeah, but I'm still going to leave the platform to you, Aimee. So I know you've been building and doing things, and this is like your first solid summer here. So
Yeah.
what things have you discovered in the Central Oregon area that's been successful and surprisingly successful?
Man, you're just really putting me on the spot tonight. Did you try some duct tape instead of just putting me on the spot like this?
I'm just showing one of my successes. Go ahead.
That's a turnip, Rob. That's a turnip.
It.
That's nothing spectacular. That's a big turnip. Okay.
It's fantastic.
You gotta make that.
You.
That is a root crop full of starch. So how do you process that and turn that into something? I mean,
Are you gonna powder it?
I'm gonna put a face on it and give it a name.
Okay.
Wilson.
October, you can use it as pumpkin.
No, I'm gonna eat it. It's gonna be a little fibery, but it's good. I'm gonna eat it. It is green on the top, but I'm using a green screen.
Oh, it doesn't show up.
But yeah.
But you're right. Just like you said, I don't think a lot of the viewers know this. Next month, the 7th of next month, we'll make 1 full year that we have been here. And I had a lady over the other day. I actually gave her, I had a few tomatoes left. They're getting tomatoes on them. I had some peppers left. They had just moved to the ranch, and she was real worried because she didn't get her garden in. People were telling her, well, you could start some things from seed. But I said, and she's real interested in being more self-sufficient. That's why they came out here. But she was just really bummed out that they didn't get their garden in. So I invited her over, and I sent her home with several plants, most everything I had left, whatever she wanted. And I said, you just take it, they're a little straggly right now because they'd really like to be in the ground. But I said, you take them home, you put them in your raised beds, you give them a good home. And she was looking around going, how long did it take you to get all this here? I was like, 11 months. Because when we moved here, there was nothing, there was utilities. The outside, the perimeter and cross fenced. So the fencing was here, the shop and the utility. That's what was here. So the chicken coop, the garden, the orchard, the flower beds, we put that all in a year. So this year's been a win. There's been hard things, but this year has been a win I would call it a win. It goes in the win category.
Good feeling, huh?
Yeah.
That's not what it looked like with that butter, though. That was not a win. Gosh, I just lost what I was going to say. On building all your stuff, you did all that this year. All the barns and all that stuff.
The barns were here. The shop and the barn are connected to each other. So I can't pat myself on the back where it's not deserved. But the chicken coop and the greenhouse, the rabbit hutches, the entire rabbit setup.
Gorgeous.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the little homesteading things. This was not a homestead when we bought it. We made it that.
It's a piece of property, right?
Yeah, it was. Yeah. It was horse property. So
yeah. And John and Debbie, you guys have been building all your stuff in 1 year time too. So I imagine you're feeling pretty good.
Oh yeah.
Pulling trees out and garden, first garden ever.
Pigs.
But yeah.
You just keep track of all this stuff. Take pictures on your phone, and then 2 years from now, go back and look through them. I just was downloading some pictures and everything.
Her brother's already done that.
And I thought, man, how have I managed to do all this stuff in the last, couple of, how much we did here and everything, and I mean, this went from, back in November of 19, trying to get this place going, and, 20th of November, I'm shoveling dirt or gravel into the utility trenches with a tractor, and Diane's down there with a shovel, and it's snowing and blowing and everything else, to completely pretty much a finished product, here lately. You knock it out and you keep seeing it. It's like, I gotta do this. I gotta, I gotta get this done. We can't have this sitting around like this.
That's what I like about the Ranger Rob videos is we can go way back, a year and a half or so, and it's like there's no greenhouse, there's no chicken coop, and it just looks so barren. It's like, so it's really cool. Like once in a while, Sherry and I will, it's like, all right, how many months back you want to go on videos? Let's go see what things look like.
Yeah, we were just doing that the other day, and this place looks nothing like when we purchased it without even seeing it. My dad and my brother came and looked at it, but we purchased it basically just for the land itself.
And then we made it our own.
But we didn't have the carports. We didn't have the only thing that was here was the shop, the tiny home, and the home.
Wow. Dale, you've been at your place how long?
We moved. Yeah, we started building the place out in 2019, and late 2019 we got in here. I think in December, and then from there on it was just building decks to get in here, getting a sprinkler system in, getting a greenhouse going, getting a chicken coop going. And this was all different ways of doing things for us, and it was a challenge. I mean, this is not unusual for us. We've done this type of stuff before and everything, but as we get a little bit older, it gets a little bit harder to do sometimes, and so you kind of have to pace yourself a little bit. But
I think you need to install a rope tow on your driveway.
Well, the driveway, that's you know how steep that thing is and everything, and I just put another 2 truck and trailer load of gravel on that one a couple days ago and everything. Rope tow, I could ski down this thing, and surprisingly people, this was a piece of juniper hillside in 2019, just complete juniper hillside. And so after we sold our place in the valley and moved over to here, we're living in an RV in various different spots and everything, and working on this hillside. Took down 30 trees to get ourselves open, and we did the majority of the work on the place ourselves. So kept us pretty busy for a while. And, we never really got to that point where we said, what the hell are we doing? Why did we do this or anything else like that? Because we had a vision, we had a goal and everything. And we've accomplished everything along those lines as far as that goes. And, we got a great view and got a nice, suitably sized, garden homestead production area that meets our abilities and desires right now. So yeah, pretty happy with it, and I'm not ever going to do it again. So, never.
Too old for this crap. So
No,
I got a question for the panel here, and I'm kind of getting this. Well, it's something I've been bringing up, and also it was also brought up again on Appalachia Homestead, and it's about the sense of urgency that's going on lately. So, does any of you guys feel like you don't know what the heck to believe anymore? So, yeah, it's like for me, for example, I'll tell you what I'm thinking of. It's like, okay, it's like we hear about the shortages, but shortages don't seem that bad. You hear about gas going up, it's gone up, but then it's kind of stabilized. Then you hear about wheat's going to be that, and then you find out wheat's being shorted over in Ukraine, but we don't buy wheat from Ukraine. That shouldn't affect us. We get it all from the United States. It keeps going on, all these little stories, and it's like how we ask people and tell people, let's try to prepare, let's try to be on top of things before things happen, and then how extreme should you go? So I know like all of us are in different kind of levels. Like for example, Dale pretty much buys out Bimart every time he goes there, and he's a good prepper. And then there's me that's kind of hot and cold. I try to build it up, and right now I'm focusing on what we're growing and saving that and turning that into being more self-sufficient, more reliant, and also be able to handle emergencies. Are we going to see rolling blackouts? Do you believe the stories or not? Is it even going to affect Oregon? Is it, on and on? So I kind of like to hear kind of open discussion of like how you're feeling about what we're hearing, and you don't have to get into the political sides and stuff, but it's like, what are your beliefs right now as far as how people, common sense would have it for people to prepare, or maybe nothing's going to happen, don't prepare at all, go back to your video games. What's your guys' opinion on this stuff?
Well, I'll jump in here and everything, and I will be the Pollyanna or the negative naysayer here. I don't do mainstream media or anything else like that. I have some good sources of information, and really in my case here, and I think for a lot of people, I'm just assuming the worst at this point in time. I'm very closely connected to the agricultural community still. I have farmer friends and production and everything else like that. And this is going on, everything's going on. It seems fine right now. But I think as we move in towards, the 2022 harvest, we're going to know a hell of a lot more about this come September and everything as to what production and food levels are going to be. And basically, I don't believe politicians. I don't believe the media. I'm just going to believe what I see and what my gut tells me right now. And so, yeah, I'm just going to keep, storing food up, trying to be as self-sufficient as I can, and hopefully help some people out in the process. But I'm fearful that we're not there yet. We're being lulled into a sense of complacency right now. The media is telling people, oh, it's fine, we're doing this and that. That's all. That's a bunch of BS and everything. You just have to look around and decide for yourself, are we set right now to survive a year or more of tight food supplies? The food supply, I think, and transportation are the two things that concern me the most, because they have the ability, excuse me, to cause us the most trouble. And so everything that you can do associated around mitigating that risk would be a good thing right now.
Yeah. So, I was going to. Oh, go ahead, John.
Being in one place all the time, because we like it here, living here, that we almost don't even like to go into town anymore. We're always happy just being here on the ranch. And when we go out we went to Walmart yesterday, we could not believe the prices that they were asking for stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, the local dairy, which is Evanhart or whatever it is, they were $6 and 50 cents for a gallon of milk.
Holy cow.
And I was like, what? I mean, I almost fell over. I said, well, I guess I ain't getting that.
So I would like to say, Dale, I totally agree with what you said. And as far as you go in the store and you see the shelves empty, and I don't believe that it's a shortage right now. I believe that most of their stuff is in the back room
Or they're holding it
because
somewhere.
they don't have enough staff to stock the shelves. Because one day you'll go in there and the shelves will be empty. The next day they're totally full.
Agreed.
So I have a hard time believing that we're that short on food.
Yeah.
Or other.
Well, I think in some of the, and there again, Rob calls me the scientific officer because I am a numbers nerd and everything else like that right now, is that on any given day, right now, freight trucks, both for like Walmart, Safeway, Cisco, US Foods, and everybody that supplies this area, they're probably bringing in about 200 tons of food a day and distributing it into the area. Walmart probably gets 2 to 3 truckloads, and there may be some of that stuff in the back room, and just like you said, Debbie, because there's nobody to put it out. But in reality, these stores don't have a whole lot of room to store excess inventory, and then just-in-time inventory model has been perfected over the last 20 years or so. And when you get trouble in the distribution system, transportation particularly, there's the shortage of the materials is caused by the shortage of the logistics and the transportation and moving this stuff around, and the people that aren't able to work or won't work, or however you're going to supply this thing. So, you've got it. Basically, if you ran into any additional issues with transportation and distribution, your stores are wiped out here 48 hours or less, completely.
Yeah.
So, Aimee, with kids, what are some of the things that I know all of our kids are growing up, and now we just worry about whether they've taken care of their families, but you got 3 little ones, and it's like, what do you tell them right now? Like, it's time to be as wise as possible. Is it time to conserve, or what are you telling the youngins right now? What's going on right now?
Well, of course, with different age groups, I've got 14, 10, and 4. So 4 is pretty easy. It doesn't really apply to her, except for that she's always hungry. She's not always hungry, but she wants to eat all the time. And one of the things, and boredom eating, or and just today she was sitting on the couch in the same room as her dad for probably an hour and a half, just fine. And then I walk in the room and she looks at me and goes, "I'm hungry. I want something to eat." While Dad had been sitting there for an hour and a half, of course, but she thinks I'm the only one who can get her a snack. But so really with her, we have changed kind of, and over time, but especially recently, changed what we're buying at the grocery store. Not all these. We've really cut back on the frivolous, prepackaged snacks, and have been trying to put the money towards either, kind of changing where the money's going. Fresh fruits and vegetables that we're not growing, or dry good ingredients to make our own snacks. So that's the example with the little one. So she, any chance she gets, if Grammy buys it, if a friend comes over, "Hey, you got any fruit snacks?" "No, I'm not buying fruit snacks anymore. It's a waste of money and it's full of corn syrup." So that's the little one. My oldest is a really good kid. She has her little meat rabbit business. She has seen with her own eyes and experienced the price of feed for the animals, etc., going up. So she's 14, definitely more aware of things going on in the world. In the least, hi Carol, in the very least, seeing animal feed prices go up. So she's kind of with it, on the same page with us. Now, my little love of my life, lover of life, completely enjoys life, Zoe, at 10, has been asking every day this week to go to the Dollar Tree. She has some money from a lemonade stand she did, burning a hole in her pocket. She wants to go to the Dollar Tree. And you know how much it costs to go anywhere because of
fuel.
I'll have to jump back in a minute.
No problem. Well, I decided that I'm just going to go live on an island, and I'm really going to call this guy Wilson. I
Yes,
think,
we're proud of you.
yes. Did I tell you I grew a really big turnip?
Drew a little
Put a face on him. He's happy. A happy turnip.
Gonna name it Wilson?
Wilson, yeah. I don't know where that came up. Just came out of my head. Call that Wilson.
It's the same thing I thought when I saw the damn thing. Yeah.
Sorry, little people knocking on the door.
No problem. So tell us about Zoe.
Yes, she wants to go to the Dollar Tree. She wants to spend her money. You know, there's always something going on the farm. You know, every 2 to 3 hours, just like all y'all, we're going out refilling waters, moving sprinklers, make sure the plants are good, make sure the rabbits have water. You know, every 2 to 3 hours, we are trying to manage our homestead in this heat. It's on a rotation. We go out, check everything. But Zoe wants to go to town, and I don't need to go to the grocery store. I don't need to pick up hay. You know, so for a while now, we've tried to plan like one day a week. We go to town, get everything done. You need to get done, saves on gas, whatever. It doesn't make sense in a 10-year-old's mind. So
Right.
I've been on her naughty list because I won't take her to Dollar Tree at a whim. So,
oh, but by the way, has anybody paid $25 for a bale of hay yet? Because I have.
Well,
today.
That Amy threw that word hay out there, and you just did too, Rob, and everything else. And I talked to some people here. I'm in contact with some of the local hay growers. We go out and do some work for them in the wintertime and things like that. And basically, you're looking at $450 a ton for hay at the farm right now. Throw another $150, $125 to $150 for transportation on that hay. And again, Dale, the math nerd here, 24 pounds.
Science officer.
That's the good word for it. 24 pounds per head, per day, per cow, per horse, whatever you want to call it, somewhere. That's just on a hay forage, and that ain't going to cut it. You're going to have to supplement them with some grains and everything else to keep your animal nutrition up right. So anybody that's dependent upon any type of forage crop, if you have any way possible, I would absolutely pack my barn full of hay right now. And figured up how much hay you're going to need to get through the year and make sure you got it, because hay is going to be a problem, coming into the winter. Next February, that's always when things tighten up and everything. I think you're going to see $700 a ton hay. That $26 a bale price that Rob paid is equivalent to about $750 a ton at retail. So major problem. That's going to be a huge problem in the cattle business and everything, because they do take so much forage. A lot of the horse people out here, Amy's well aware of this, as to what their horses eat per day and what you see out there and everything else like that. And, just the old farmer in me says, secure your supply. I mean, an old farmer never wants anything more than a barn cram full of hay in September and having some more piled up and having to tarp it up, like that type of thing. So we could run all the numbers and everything else like that, but $450 to $600 a ton price for hay is going to translate into some extremely expensive proteins. That's all there is to it.
Amy, do you have places to store hay?
Sorry, what's that?
Say again?
Do you have places to store hay over there?
Me?
At our place?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We do. Now, don't y'all come and try and take it, because it's not going to end well for you. I don't mean you.
Well, we were going to let you guys buy it and borrow it.
Yeah. But
we'll give it back to you in fertilizer.
Yeah. I should have included that on our list of wins this year. Is we went to the valley to get our hay, and it was about $200 a ton. So instead of the $24 a bale, it was $5 a bale out of the field, and we brought home. We made 5 trips of a big diesel truck and a flatbed trailer. 5, and we're just like Dale said. Our goal is to be set for a year. Now, for hay, that's an easier way to store it for us. Meatloaf gets a huge, big bucket of grain on the milking stand each night. And we have had times where we've gone to the feed store and they have limited us, said you can only have 5 bags. Like, there's a whole pallet right there, and here's the cash right here. You can only have 5 bags. I'm like, well, now I'm going to have to come back to town tomorrow if you let me. You know what I mean? So they're limited. The grain is an issue. Her milk
if that's what you gotta if that's what you gotta do, that's what you gotta do.
Yeah.
I'd go every day until my money ran out, until I had the stuff piled up in there, because and this is what we're talking about here, is the lowest level of agriculture and food production that there is. And you guys are the producers right now. And in order for you to produce everything, you've got to have your inputs that are out there. And there is, this is as elemental as it gets. These guys grow the hay, they cut it, they bale it, and they sell it. Okay, that is, hay is one thing, but the grains and everything else to keep your milk production, to keep your gains on your meat animals and stuff like that, you're going to have to keep them going effectively like that. So the priority that should be placed on that is just huge. And I think what Aimee did, I remember when you were saying you went to the valley and you got the hay and everything else. You're doing what you need to do right now. Fortunately in our area, the first crop of hay was extremely good. It was probably double the yield that it normally was. So there's a lot of hay around here, but the price of that hay is going to become a siren song later on to people, and so you're going to watch that. It's going to do nothing but go up. So anything you can do to get yourself set between now and then is important. And unfortunately, what you're seeing is small scale homesteading is really no different than an economy of scale production agriculture. Okay, you're looking at a problem with hay. Think about the hay growers. I mean, where are they getting the fertilizer at $1,000 a ton? They're not fertilizing it a whole lot. You've got to keep your inputs under control like that. And that's, you absolutely have to do that, because I've seen a lot of people on social media. Where are we going to get hay? I can't find hay. Oh my God, I've got all these goats. Oh my God.
At the end of the year last year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this year it's going to be even more critical, because the price of that hay, and even what's happened is a lot of the producers didn't fertilize and everything, or fertilize the minimum amount. So their production is down about 30% overall, but the yields were up. So they're kind of in a good position right now. But is in everything agricultural and homesteading, that's merely a temporary stop in time here, because time keeps moving on. You still need all these inputs. You got to be looking 6 months to a year down the road. I mean, if you're worried about something that's affecting you this week or next month, you're already behind the 8 ball.
I guess my point on this whole thing is, like, all of us try to pass on to people that, like, maybe you ought to put a little bit more in the pantry. Maybe you ought to put a little more gas cans in the back, and stuff like that. Maybe you should have a generator and all that stuff. And my question is that an overkill? Are we just
No.
Is this, where's the facts? I mean, because you'll listen to one organization and say everything's fine and dandy, it's the greatest economy ever, and then you look and you go and you go to the store and go, this doesn't look like the greatest economy ever. Something's wrong here.
Well, a classic example, the supply chain is so.
Well, the point is, though, I want to get out of you guys is, what are we going to tell folks that listen to us? Is it, should you be moderate, cautious? Should you be diligent and try to keep building your numbers up, building your pantry, educating your kids, etc.? Or are we just blowing smoke?
I look at it this way: we're one disaster away from ruin. So, what difference does it make?
Well, yeah, it's exactly that way. And, and this is, you just have to, if you're talking with people about this, you go, how comfortable do you feel about your situation right now? Are you completely comfortable with what you're doing and where you're headed?
That's a good question.
And if they just kind of go, oh, it stimulates thought and everything else. And, it's kind of like me and my hat and everything else here, I mean, what could possibly happen? We did this in our business all the time and everything. And, later in the fall, we'd sit down and we'd plan our budgets and everything. And we go, what's the worst thing that could possibly happen to us this year? And you can't even begin to imagine some of the stuff that you think that could happen and everything. But, right now, I mean, we've got, people come over to our house. It's like, yeah, they look around. Oh, what's all this? Oh, yeah, those piles of boxes in the spare bedroom and everything. My office is the only one here that hasn't, got a whole lot of boxes piled up in it and everything like that. But I don't care because I want to be able to have the stuff and everything. I don't have a lot of confidence in our distribution systems and government politics and everything else like that. So I'm going to do whatever I got to do to make sure that, Diane and I are prepared for what's coming down the road, that I'm able to assist people if they can. And more so, I can assist them with my knowledge and everything and my opinions. They don't have to listen to me or anything else. They can, say I'm a crazy old man and everything else. That's fine. But, those of us who are involved in this thing, the people you're talking about don't really understand homesteading. Okay. John and Debbie went to Walmart, $6 for a gallon of milk. I mean, that shows you the last time I've been in the store. I had no idea it was that expensive and everything else. So you've got to look at that,
we didn't buy it. We're going to Amy's.
Yeah.
Well, and I mean, and that's the same thing. We're more water, more tea, stuff like that. We like our milk and everything, but I mean, you got to say, at some point in time, you got to say, wow, $6 a gallon, man, that's a little crazy. Type of thing. And so security in your food supply, security in your shelter, security in your transportation, and security in your security, if you know what I mean. So, type of thing there.
Got it. Well, I've always been a true believer too of always having extra food for somebody that may need it. Yeah. Any of my grandkids or my kids know if they need something, they know where to go shopping. In fact, the reason why we went to Walmart is because I've always been so stocked up, we haven't had to shop for a year.
Yeah.
Well, that's kind of how we are.
Culture shock is like, what the hell happened?
Well, yeah, you go in there and you look at that thing, and we went into our preps this year with the thought that, and some of our families moved out of the area and everything, so that need kind of went away, but. We went into this thing. Yeah, we went into this thing saying, here's two of us. We calculated up how much we needed as far as proteins and everything else. And then just like everything else, I want 15 to 25 to 30% more than I'm going to need and everything. And just for that reason, that to be able to assist people or if this thing, goes sideways. I mean, 2022, as we approach harvest and the winter is going to be what I would call a seminal event time frame that we're looking at. If this harvest doesn't come in well, if there are transportation and other issues in this harvest, it's not going to be a good winter.
So another thing that comes up out of this whole thing is there's so many people that's like, I don't see a problem. The stores look fine to me. I can get where I'm going. And the 2022 numbers come out and things start going under. And we're looking at probably 75, 80% of people are just living. They just, it's like, it's a little more inconvenient, but the stores are fine. I've got my fancy car. I can still get gas. I have a job. They're just fine. And then if this does go south, what the hell are those 75, 80% of people going to be doing to us?
Well, you just mentioned three things right there, Rob. I mean, you mentioned transportation, you mentioned food. What was the other one? I forgot already.
Job.
Job. Okay.
Yeah.
pull Eddie. This is a three-legged stool we're talking about
Pull
here.
one
Okay,
and-
this is a pull one of those things out, and everything goes to hell real quick. Like, and the number that Rob said, that 75%, I am in 100% agreement that it is that there's 30% of the people, the populace out here that understand what's going on, and they're kind of prepared for it, and maybe half of that 30%, which I'm going to put all of us into that area there, is a little bit more,
Ahead of the
prepared.
game.
We're ahead of the game and everything. And so it's one of those things. If people are trying to prep now, you're behind the game. You're really going to have to accelerate. You're going to have to throw some money down and everything to get this all done. And so we kind of started doing this a year and a half ago. And we go to town and just do what we call a top off shopping, type of a thing, unless we see something that's good and needs to come home or something like that.
Like Oreo cookies.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's a necessity. Come on now,
Right.
and every
I get my
necessity.
little Debbie's.
Oh
I got my
God.
priorities.
Shut
You got necessities
Shut
like
up.
cookies, Bailey's Irish cream for my coffee and things like that.
No, you can't go without that.
And so you've got to be here, and I can't really lay down hard enough on this because I'm just everything that I see says and that three-legged stool. What happens if you pull two of them off? I mean, it's going to fall over when you pull one off and everything. And so when you look at it, that kind of an analogy, and break your life and preparations down into that, it's going to give you a good view of are you going to thrive or are you just going to survive?
Yeah.
Or are you going to take it?
Yeah, there you go. I mean, you could, quite frankly, a lot of people are going to be up shit creek this winter without a paddle. And it's, there's going to be a learning curve. It's going to be brutal. It's going to be hard, and it's completely unsustainable, and so I keep saying I'm moving on with my backyard prepper label here. And I am going to start doing landscape garden consulting and everything for people that need that, because I won't do any of the physical work or anything else like that, but we can help people move towards a higher level. And it's not self-sufficiency, because nobody will ever be self-sufficient. We'll be prepared and everything. We'll have a higher level, I guess, of non-dependence on traditional sources of distribution and food and everything. Because when things start compromising, it'll be transportation and stuff like that at first. Then it's just it's a horrible cavalcade downhill from there.
But we have full bellies over here.
Well, that's the idea
what-
right there.
That's why you need
Yep.
community.
I would exactly, just like
Yeah.
Debbie just said. That's what I was going to say. Is I would encourage people, when they're just like Rob, you were saying, which end of the spectrum are people supposed to believe? Well, prepare for the worst.
Yeah.
You'd be prepared if nothing happened, but as much as your budget and your time and your ability allows, prepare for the worst on that end of the spectrum. And then I would encourage you just to sit and think, what if it really is as bad as these guys right here are saying? What would you do? Do you have a community to lean on? Do you have a personal belief inside of you? Do you have a faith system that you can gain strength from if everything goes wrong? Think about community and that inner strength. Do you have those two things? Even if you don't have the ability to do a whole bunch of prepping, put a whole bunch of food away, what do you have the intangible things? And I know people are tangible, but how are you doing on the intangible things of prepping also?
That's a very good point. And with that in mind, now, Amy, you're good at this. Because, if I would have ended this with Dale, we'd go over again.
That's why.
That's the way we love you, man.
Say nothing.
So, guys, that was that was good stuff, because I'm really I'm torn. I'm talking about my videos. It's like, I'll probably make us go over the 1 minute mark. But, it's like I hear one thing, I see another, or read another, and it's like, what's right, who's lying, whatever. But I think it just comes down to do your best. Doesn't hurt to build up your stuff a little bit. What's it going to hurt? So guys, don't get caught off guard. That's the biggest thing I'm getting out of this.
And what Amy just said, keep your head in the game. Get your head in the game, keep it in the game, and don't put your foot off the throttle. Just keep it mashed.
Amen.
know
So
who
guys,
you
with
can
that note,
count on.
we got to scoot. So guys, thank you very much for watching, and make sure you like and share and all that good stuff. You'll help us out. We appreciate it, and we'll see y'all next week. Except John and Debbie, I think, will be on vacation, and so we'll just have a whole hour to talk about them. So can't wait.
Yeah.
So see you next week, guys. The next podcast. We'll talk to y'all later. Bye now. Thank you very much for watching our video. Please take the time to like, subscribe, and share our videos all over the whole wide world. Thanks.